friends, and welcome back to the channel. Firstly, let me say thank you to everybody for watching and for all those that like, subscribe, comment and share. Honestly, it is truly appreciated. So today I am doing a little bit of a hotel review, but I'm also twinning it with a fascinating story. You'll see behind me is the house or hall that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be talking about a man that once lived here who is really important to nature, and this man actually inspired both Charles Darwin and the legend that is David Attenborough. So I will be doing you a little hotel review, which this hotel has a spa, and then we're going to talk about the history and I'll tell you the little story. So that's enough waffle, let's wander. The Waterton Park Hotel and Spa is a 4-star hotel situated in the village of Walton, which is in Wakefield, West Yorkshire. Having spotted it on the internet and liking what it had to offer, we decided to book it for a bit of R&R before Christmas time. As always when visiting a new place, a few weeks before our arrival, I decided to do a little research. What was the history of the site? Had anybody famous ever been there? And of course, were there any ghosts? Before long, I started to unravel a story so fascinating, I seriously couldn't wait for the date of our stay to arrive. It looked stunning, surrounded by a lake and with its very own island. I won't lie, I couldn't wait to get in that hot tub, but it was more than that, because the stories I'd read about Waterton showed me that there was so much more to this place than meets the eye. In this episode, I'll share our experience and show you what you can expect if you book a similar break to Waterton Park. It will still be a hotel review in every sense of the word, but in this video I'll be giving you much more than that, because Waterton Park Hotel and its associated hall have an incredible story to tell. It's a story packed with adventure, with rebellion and sadness. But most importantly, it's a story about an Englishman who went against the norms of his time to make positive changes to our planet. If this sounds like your sort of adventure, then join me on this trip to one of the most beautiful hotels in the area, followed by a wander through the footsteps of one of the hall's most favoured owners. Nestled in the charming countryside of West Yorkshire and just a short distance from Wakefield, you will find the Waterton Park Hotel and Spa. Its website tells me it's been used as a hotel since the 80s and that it's been voted Yorkshire's most romantic wedding venue. The beautiful Georgian mansion known as Walton Hall sits majestically on an island surrounded by a 26-acre lake. Once used as the main hotel, this building is now home to the spa, and it seems to be where those romantic weddings take place. The Walton Hall we see today was built in 1767. It was a Richard Waterton who originally created a moated hall on the site, but that's long gone, and what stands instead is this. During the war and long after into the early 1960s, the hall was used as an emergency maternity home. Its website tells me that many current Wakefield residents aged between 55 and 75 were in fact born at the hall. Do you know anybody who this applies to? Please let me know in the comments, because I always love to hear your stories. You can reach the hall by footbridge if you don't fancy swimming, and the journey across gives the visitor a chance to absorb the beauty of the water and the many birds who call this place home. It's perhaps the most impressive spa entrance we've ever encountered, and I'm pretty sure other guests felt the same, as this is where most of the selfies were getting snapped. Walton Hall and its bridge are today both Grade 2 listed, and in March 2024 the estate was added to the official register of Parks and Gardens as the first dedicated nature reserve for the protection of native wild species in the world. But we'll dig more into how that all came about later. This review showcases an overnight package which included dinner, bed, breakfast and 3 hours spa access. I'll go more into details and prices later, but as the first thing we did was use the spa, let's head there first. The spa is located inside the historic Walton Hall. Guests are given a time slot for entry, but if you arrive a little earlier, then you can always wait it out in the cafe. Oh, what a shame. Here you can pre-book afternoon teas, but we hadn't been that organised, and so instead dived into their sandwich menu. Brie, bacon and cranberry seemed like the most festive option. Inside the spa, you'll find a swimming pool, a sauna, steam room, jacuzzi and a gym. I love the fact that it was not packed out with people. The time slots meant we all had enough space to take full advantage of the facilities. My favourite, without a doubt though, had to be this pool. Set against the backdrop of the lake, I could almost imagine that we were swimming amongst the swans. Honestly, it sounds silly, but it was stunning. The hot tubs are located outside and surrounded by views of stunning nature. Again, the staff ensures fair use of these, so everyone has a chance to enjoy them on their own. Something we really appreciated, because there's nothing worse than not being able to get in the hot tub because people won't get out. So, with our spa package, we were provided with slippers, robes and towels. It's these thoughtful touches that made the experience feel truly special. We didn't book a treatment, but to be honest, just relaxing in this environment and enjoying the incredible views was enough. We'd definitely return, perhaps in the summer, so we could sit outside overlooking the lake.
Also, as part of our spa package, we were given these £20 off Elemis products vouchers. Now, I think we had to spend £60. Was it £60, Adi? Oh yeah, £60 minimum to spend it. We haven't actually spent it because we didn't really need anything. But if you are really into Elemis products, then that might be a little bit of a bonus for you.
Most of the rooms, the reception and the main restaurant are located in the building adjacent to the hall. Check-in was seamless, and although this building is clearly more modern than Walton Hall, it's kept in character with some beautiful displays on the walls and traditional wooden staircases. Our room was located up said staircases and in room 68.
Okay guys, are you ready? This is the room tour, and I'm going to say I am pretty impressed. Well, Adie's absolutely flabbergasted, aren't you? Yeah, so this is our room. Look how swanky this is. This is like being in Buckingham Palace. Honestly, right, so we've got a little seating area here. Fancy, fancy pants. Then we've got a TV, which we probably won't have time to watch. Then, you know, I like checking out the condiments tray. We have Oaty biscuits, yum yum. Fruit and lemon biscuits. We've got peppermint tea. We've got everyday tea, Yorkshire tea, hot chocolate and coffee. Right, we're ready. So, we've got a little desk here. I could have actually stayed a bit longer and got some work done. We've got water from Harrogate Spa. I do like the paintings at this place. And he's very serious. So, but look, this is the view. So you've got the hall there in the background, and that's where the spa was. We've got a really nice view. And then, right, back round to the room. We've got Adie posing in the drawing room. We've got a 4-poster bed. I mean, how Henry VIII is this? We're not quite sure how big it is, but it's got some, look at the carvings. That is gorgeous. Pillows feel soft as well. Got a little table with 2 chairs. More funky paintings. There's a dog talking to a horse. Lots of there's a lot of horse vibes going on in this room. And then, wait for it, you're not going to believe this. We've not just got a normal wardrobe. Hello! We've not got a normal wardrobe. We've only gone and got a walk-in wardrobe. So, we've got plenty of space. If we get too hot, there's a fan. If we get too cold, I presume that's a heater, but it's radiator. There's an iron. Then, a little bit of a makeup desk. But, wait for this. I couldn't believe this when I saw this. This bathroom, honestly, is bigger than my kitchen. So we've got a massive, massive tub. It's huge. Obviously, we've just come out of the spa, so I feel like a wrinkled prune. So I won't be going in the bathtub, but I might go in there in the morning. Obviously, fresh towels, toilet, whacking great big shower. Again, it's got like loads of fancy pants things going on here. I'll let you know in the morning how that goes. In the shower we have Duck Island bath foam and shower gel. Then toiletries. What have we got going on here? We've got a moisturising body cream. We've got a conditioner with green walnut extract. Blimey, Charlie. I don't know what this is, I can't read it. Shower gel. And then a soap. And then a shower cap. Well, I'm absolutely blown away. There is a hook on the back of the door. So considering the money that we've spent on this place, I am amazed. I'm surprised this isn't the bridal suite. This is the view in the morning. Look at that. Oh, wow. I'm really, really impressed. And do you know what? Last night it was so quiet. You wouldn't believe there was a wedding on. Just noticed as well, in the corner there's a whole book about visiting West Yorkshire, and on the front it's only shabby little Shibden. Yeah, Shibden Hall, the home of Anne Lister, who I did a video on earlier this year. So I love it when I come to places and there's like a connection. Yeah.
Dinner and breakfast are both served in the main hotel restaurant. For those wanting a drink before or after, there is a spacious bar area, which is beautifully decorated with a cosy vibe. And for my non-drinking friends, they did have 0% Prosecco. Merry Christmas. The package we'd booked meant a dinner allowance of £30 per person, and this was enough for us to get a main and a drink. The menu was traditional and had the sort of offerings you might expect at a nice pub. We opted for a steak in the end with a peppercorn sauce. Breakfast was self-service and had all the usual full English items you might expect. There was also a selection of juices, cereals and fruits. A great start to the day, especially as we've still got that wander to do. So, would I come back? Yes, I most certainly would. The experience we received was exceptional value for money, and when I tell you about the importance of the estate to the natural world, you might understand why it's loved so much. But first, let's break down those costings.
Right then, AD, you have done exceptionally well, haven't you, booking this break?
Done all right.
You've done all right. So, tell everybody, how much did this break cost?
It was classed as a Black November deal.
Black November, right, okay.
So it ran for the whole of November they did it for, not just Black Friday. But for this room, 3 hours use of the spa, and then a £30 meal allowance each.
Yep.
And then breakfast the next morning was £180.
£90 each?
So take £30 meal allowance.
Yeah, take away that.
£60 each.
£60 each. But then you've got your spa.
Breakfast.
And it's Christmas time.
Yeah, and it's Christmas.
It's Christmas! And we've got what appears to be the Queen's bedroom. Or the King, sorry. Probably one of the best deals we've actually managed to bag. Don't you? I'm impressed.
We've spoken a little about the hall and hotel nowadays, but what I haven't done yet is gone into the past, which it helps explain why this place is so remarkable. Allow me to introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Charles Waterton. You may or may not know his tale, but whatever the case, Charles Waterton's life and death is a story full of passion and eccentricity. A naturalist and explorer, he travelled the world studying wildlife, and it was his remarkable work that led David Attenborough to describe him as one of the first people anywhere to recognise not only that the natural world was of great importance, but that it needed protection as humanity made more and more demands on it. When visiting, you can wander these fascinating grounds, walking in the footsteps of the man himself.
So we have been given by the hotel receptionist a little map of how we can get to Charles Waterton's grave. There's also some circular walks on here as well, so I think if we were here for a bit longer, it'd be a really nice place to come and walk, and the hotel is dog friendly, so you could bring your furry friend and make a really nice trip of it.
Charles was born in Walton Hall here in 1782. During his 20s, he travelled to South America, where he was asked to oversee his uncle's sugar plantations near Georgetown. Charles quickly realised that the success of such industry was at the expense of many slaves, something he objected to immensely, and something which no doubt ruffled a few feathers. Charles named slavery the devil's invention, and in 1825 wrote, "Slavery can never be defended. He whose heart is not of iron can never wish to be able to defend it." A leaflet which the hotel receptionist gave out describes how Charles sold the plantation and did not own slaves nor receive compensation after the abolition of slavery. Charles had a lifelong interest in nature, and through his travels he was able to encounter a number of exotic animals, eventually writing a book titled Wanderings in South America. It was this book that historians say inspired a young Charles Darwin, father of the evolutionary theory, to visit the rainforest and explore the natural world. Darwin did in fact also visit here in the autumn of 1845. In his diary he wrote, "Walton Hall is a fine old house, and the lake swarms with wild fowl." He also described Mr. Waterton as an amusing, strange fellow, the strangest mixture of extreme kindness, harshness, and bigotry that ever I saw. It is clear from these stories that Charles Waterton was indeed a fascinating character. Historic England today recognise him as a pioneering naturalist, researcher and adventurer of the early 19th century, who believed in the need for and benefit of a harmonious balance between humans and the natural world, with a deep antipathy to the harming of wildlife, especially birds, by mankind. Despite his travelling, his research, and his development of new techniques in taxidermy, what happened here on his estate is perhaps his biggest story of all.
This is some of the remains of the famous Waterton Wall. Now, if you don't know what that means, it basically, Charles Waterton, who lived here, he decided that he was sick of the poachers getting in onto his estate and killing all the wildlife. So he built this wall to keep the poachers out. And as a consequence of that, the area became thriving with lots of natural species and birds, and a sanctuary for wildlife. And that's why it is so important today. And it all started with this wall. Now, this wall took 4 years to build, and it cost him £10,000, which was a lot of money in those days. But do you know how he paid for it, my friends? He wasn't a drinker, Charles Waterton, so the money that he said to his friends when they said, "Oh, how have you spent so much money on a wall?" And he was like, "Well, you spend so much money on wine." So the money that he saved from not drinking wine was built the wall, and look at what it's done. Massive, massive achievement.
The Walton Hall estate is the world's first nature reserve. The wall which Charles had built to enable this to happen is 3 miles long, varying in height between 9 and 16 feet, or the height over which a fox cannot jump.
If you come and do this route that we've done the walk, you'll see that parts of the wall have no doubt faded away. But I believe, judging by this leaflet, there is a charity called the Friends of Waterton's Wall, and they must be working towards conserving the wall. I'll drop a little bit of information in about it here.
The charity's objective is to preserve for the benefit of the people of Walton, Wakefield and the nation the historic and architectural heritage of the wall and its immediate vicinity surrounding what was Charles Waterton's nature reserve in Walton, and to educate the general public in the architecture, geography, natural and social history of the area of benefit. In March 2024, the wall built by Charles Waterton was awarded Grade 2 listed building status, and his parkland, Waterton Park, was registered as a park and garden at Grade 2 by Historic England. After coming back from America, Charles married his young goddaughter Anne. Sadly, she died shortly after giving birth to their son. She was just 18 years old at the time, and her death was no doubt tragic for the whole family. Charles, in particular, dealt with his grief in such a way that led him to sleep on the floor with a block of wood for a pillow. Grief affects us all differently, and although some may think this act unusual, Charles was known for many eccentric behaviours through his lifetime. Some of his best include sleeping with his foot out of the window in the hope vampire bats would bite his toe, walking barefoot for 600 kilometres to Brazil during the rainy season, climbing in trees on the estate to observe the wildlife, and he did this right up to an old age, and my personal favourite, dressing as a scarecrow and standing around the estate in order to watch the wildlife.
We are walking through the woods, and in theory, we are walking in the same steps that Charles Waterton took while he walked around his estate. He sadly died walking on the estate, tripped over a log, and it did that much damage that there was internal bleeding. So they took him back to Walton Hall, but unfortunately he passed away the next day. So his grave is actually, they buried him in the spot pretty much where he died, which is quite poignant really. But this walk is beautiful. Let me show you. You don't want to see my face any longer. Let me show you the walk. This is where we are walking currently through the woods. We've seen some beautiful birds so far. But yeah, look, it's nice up here, really nice.
Sadly, on the 27th of May 1865, and just a week short of his 83rd birthday, Charles Waterton died following an internal injury after a fall whilst wandering here. The last entry in his diary was a note about 2 nightingales singing on his estate. Written on May the 2nd, shortly before his death, it reads, "On this night at 11 o'clock, 2 nightingales were singing melodiously in the park at Walton Hall." The nightingale is a secretive bird and now an endangered species in the UK with a declining population. They are known for their complex, melodic songs, which are made up of a series of high, low and rich notes. After his death, Charles's funeral took place on June the 3rd, 1865, on what would have been his 83rd birthday. The coffin was taken from the hall by barge across the lake. The procession included further barges draped in black, with the Bishop of Beverley leading the way. Mourners followed in their own boats. The journey ended at his chosen resting place, supposedly selected by Charles for its proximity to some of his favourite climbing trees. His wishes were to be swallowed up by the trees and vegetation, completely absorbed by nature. A simple cross was erected and later some railings. The cross we see today is a replacement, constructed here in the 1950s after the previous one had been stolen.
are in front of the grave of Charles Waterton, which, as I mentioned, he was buried closely to where he actually fell. But here on his land, it's quite a poignant sight. I can understand probably why he wants to be in the middle of the wilderness. You've not got loads of people coming up here all the time, have you? So you can come and walk this trail if you come to Waterton Park. However, tip number 1, bring your walking boots, and tip number 2, perhaps bring a compass and somebody that knows something about map reading, which is not me, clearly. I thought I was a bit of an explorer, turns out I am not. So that's it. Thank you to everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I will leave a link to the hotel in the description below. So that's it. I hopefully will see you on the next video.